Good morning. Good morning. My name is Kameshwar Pula, and I have the high privilege of serving as marshal for these festive proceedings. Welcome to today's College of Engineering commencement ceremony, honoring our master's and doctoral candidates. We are delighted to have all of you here to share this special day. I'm happy to announce that today's ceremony is being broadcast live on the World Wide Web. If anyone here would like to share the web address with family and friends, it is coe.berkeley.edu/begrad. To all our loved ones who have already tuned in, welcome. To begin the ceremony, we've invited Isaac Jackson to lead us in singing the national anthem. Isaac is a graduating senior in political science and rhetoric here at Berkeley. He sings with the UC Men's Octet and has served as a group manager for the last 2 years. I invite you all to stand while Isaac sings the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Isaac. Please be seated. Today, we are inaugurating a new tradition in the College of Engineering by devoting this commencement celebration exclusively to our master's and doctoral candidates. Our baccalaureate commencement will be held this afternoon. UC Berkeley is recognized as a world leader in graduate education, with more top-ranked graduate programs than any other university in the nation. The script is wrong. It's actually any other university in the world. In front of us today, there are more than 500 exceptional individuals who have earned a graduate degree from Berkeley Engineering this year. Each one of you deserves to be very proud of your accomplishment. Out of respect for all our illustrious graduates, I ask that everyone please stay for the entire program. To offer the first of what will be many heartfelt congratulations to our graduates, I'm pleased to present Shankar Shastri, Dean of the College of Engineering. Please welcome Dean Sastry.
Good morning. This is my favorite day of the entire academic year. I know I speak for all of my faculty colleagues in saying how privileged we feel to have played a role in preparing you for this day. We've asked a lot of you, and you've stood up to the task. In your graduate studies, you've deepened your understanding of engineering challenges and how they can be met through original research and hands-on innovation. You've contributed your own insights and discoveries to the legacy of engineering knowledge in the world. We are proud to send you off to the world as advanced degree holders from the #1 engineering school in the world. This day belongs to our graduates. It also belongs to the families who are here today. And we congratulate you for supporting the success of our students. Thank you. Now, I'd like to give our graduates one last assignment. As you head off to further accomplishment in the professional or academic arena, I ask you to answer the call of the citizen engineer. I want you to use your engineering talents to create better living conditions, greater prosperity, and a healthier planet for all of us. Wherever you go, remember that you will always be a Berkeley engineer. Take your responsibilities seriously. Please stay in touch with us, and go Bears! It is always one of the highlights of commencement to introduce our student speaker. This year, I'm pleased to introduce Lu Yao Jeffrey Zhang, graduating with a Master of Science in Structural Engineering, Mechanics and Materials, SEMM, in Civil and Environmental Engineering. Jeffrey also went to Cal as an undergraduate. He earned highest honors in our CEE program in just 3 years, while working 10 hours a week in the engineering library and giving walking tours of San Francisco's Chinatown. He is a die-hard San Francisco Giants fan. So much so that he raced through his CE 193 midterm in November 2010 just so he could run over to Laval's to watch the Giants win the World Series. He's played baseball, volleyball, basketball, tennis, ping pong, and other sports. He used to play the piano and draw, but now he's pretty sure that his 13-year-old sister has surpassed him on the piano, and his 5-year-old sister will do the same in drawing. He says, Berkeley will always be a special place to me, not only because I've learned so much here, but also because I met my girlfriend in the Unit 1 dorms my freshman year. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeffrey Zhang.
Thank you, Dean Shastri, for that introduction. First of all, I want to thank my family and friends and all of the families and friends of all of the graduates for your steady and dependable support, for putting up with us as we put off finding real jobs, and of course, for funding our continued education. I also want to extend my gratitude to all of the faculty here at Berkeley. You all are truly the sharpest, most hardworking, and most inspiring individuals I have ever met. You have pushed and prodded us to be our very best, to learn, to think, to reflect, to discover, and to invent. And to my fellow graduates, we've made it. You've made it. Whether you've been here for 1 or 2 years getting your master's degree, or if you've been here for the last 3 years, or 5 years, or even 10 years getting your PhD, we've been through a lot here at Berkeley. Let me tell you all a story. On my first day here in Berkeley as an engineering undergraduate student, I went to the engineering orientation, where Professor D.K. Liu presented a list of myths and facts about Berkeley engineering. The only one I still remember is the myth that Berkeley engineers spend all day working in the labs. Now, this is a common misconception because we all know the truth is that Berkeley engineers spend all day and all night working in the labs. And oh, how true those words were. We've suffered through the stress and the strain of a crushing course load. We've been pulled in tension by our many commitments to our classes, to teaching, to research, and to our professional organizations. We've cursed at MATLAB whenever it makes that very distinct ding, signaling an error in our script. And we've tried hard to resist buckling under the crushing pressure of impending midterms and final exams. Now, even though we may be suffering from a vitamin D deficiency from being indoors all day, we finally made it. So congratulations, graduates. You deserve this. But we cannot and we must not sit back and rest on our achievements. This is just the beginning of the road ahead. The world needs our help now more than ever. We are still woefully underprotected from natural disasters. We are chewing through our non-renewable energy sources at an alarming rate. We are under attack in the digital world as personal privacy and cybersecurity become major concerns. We still have many uncurable diseases, and now even superbacteria. And many global systems are still incredibly inefficient and under-optimized. These are merely a small sampling of the many problems of the world that as cow engineers, we can help solve. After all, that's what engineers do. We solve problems. And as Berkeley engineers, we are some of the smartest, most hardworking, most creative, and yes, best-looking engineers in the world. As such, the burden falls on us to make the world a better place. Actually, it's not so much a burden, but an opportunity, a challenge. And as Barney Stinson would say, challenge accepted. Now, not everyone is going to cure cancer or invent a cheap renewable energy source. But I still want to challenge each and every single one of you to always work towards making the world a better place to live. People need help, and we can help them. It can be as simple as designing a good joint in a building that saves lives, writing an elegant piece of code that makes someone's life easier, inventing a new way of growing a cell culture that leads to a cure, or developing a better algorithm to optimize that saves time. But little by little, we can help the almost 7 billion people living with us. No pressure. Berkeley has given us the tools and the skills. Now it is up to us to make change happen. So again, congratulations on your monumental achievement. But remember, your challenge is always to help make the world a better place. And we will. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeffrey, and the very best of luck to you. In my opening remarks, I urge today's graduates to take up the cause of the citizen engineer. Our commencement speaker, Thomas Siebel, is an outstanding example of what engineering skills can accomplish when they are combined with business acumen and civic engagement. Tom Siebel is the chairman of the First Virtual Group, a holding company with interests in commercial real estate, agribusiness, global investment management, and philanthropy. As well, he is the founder, chairman, and CEO of C3, an energy and emissions management company. In the early 1990s, Tom Siebel pioneered the development of customer relationship management, CRM, by using computer software in revolutionary ways to streamline sales and customer service. As CEO of Siebel Systems, which he founded in 1993, Tom presided over one of the fastest growing and most consistently profitable companies in the information technology sector. The firm's CRM software and related marketing strategy spawned an entire industry, earning Tom Siebel recognition as a visionary entrepreneur. Siebel Systems merged with Oracle in early 2006. Tom Siebel serves on our own College of Engineering Advisory Board, as well as advisory boards for the engineering programs at Stanford and the University of Illinois, where he earned a bachelor's degree in history, an MBA, and a master's in computer science. He is a frequent industry spokesman and the author of 3 books, Taking Care of E-Business, Cyber Rules, and Virtual Selling. Tom and his wife, Stacy, established a foundation in 1996 to support education and alternative energy solutions and to fight social causes like homelessness and methamphetamine abuse. In addition, the Siebel Scholars Foundation endows scholarship funds for graduate students in computer science, business, and bioengineering at 11 leading universities, including, I'm very proud to say, Berkeley Engineering. In fact, 13 Siebel Scholars are graduating this year. Let me now invite Tom to deliver the keynote address for today's Master's and Doctoral Commencement. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to Thomas Siebel.
Dean Sastry, members of the faculty, graduates, proud parents and family, distinguished guests, good morning. In this important place, on this important day, and in this very wonderful assembly, we gather to celebrate. I want to join you and your families, I want to join your families and your faculty in congratulations for your significant accomplishment, and I want to talk a little bit about what happens next. I want to talk about some decisions that you will make. I want to talk to you about what you can expect and opportunities that you are likely to encounter. I want to talk about making a difference, and I want to talk about leaving the world a better place than you found it. There's a story attributed to the great California oil magnate and UC Berkeley student, John Paul Getty Sr., at the time the richest man in the world. When asked about the keys to success by a young intern, he explained that there were 3 such essential elements. The first, get a great education, attend the best school, study hard, be a great student. Secondly, get a job, work hard, be the first to show up for work in the morning, be the last to leave at night, tackle every job, work weekends, nights, always do your best, be a top performer. The third key to success, and most importantly, find oil. Now, there's some truth to this story. Think about the immense opportunities that are before each and every one of you. Your productive careers will span the next 5 or 6 decades. Six decades, think about that. In the next decades, the body of scientific knowledge will increase by a factor of 2 to 3, and you will have the privilege of materially participating in that phenomenon. Some of you will make significant change happen. You will change the world. You will discover cures for cancer. You will perfect the hydrogen fuel cell. You will harness the power of the stem cell. You will lead the colonization of outer space. You will create new companies, make new products, create jobs, develop new food sources, foster prosperity, and husband world peace. The world will be a better, healthier, happier place for what you will do. Now think back for a moment upon those individuals who've made a real difference in history. really made a difference. Think about Francis Bacon, Michelangelo, Louis Pasteur. Think about Ben Franklin and Thomas Jefferson, Isaac Newton, Johann Gutenberg, Albert Einstein, and Steve Jobs. Think about Sally Ride and Margaret Thatcher. Think about Martin Luther and Martin Luther King. These leaders are representative of that group who collectively articulated the concepts and principles, the sum of which constitute our perception of reality. Those great people brought us gravity, electricity, germ theory. They invented the printing press, movable type, the basilica, the public library, the modern university, and the internet. They created our nations, our religions, and democracy. They discovered outer space, and they brought us the very concepts of individual liberty and human dignity. These people changed the world, each of them. Collectively, they and their like conceived of the universe as we understand it today. Let's take a look at this group and see if we can identify any common characteristics. How about education? Well, some were exceptionally well educated. Some, like Albert Einstein, were mediocre students. Many had no formal education at all. Not much in common there. Work ethic. How about work ethic? Well, in general, these people were driven. They were focused. They got up earlier. They worked longer. They were tireless. They all achieved, and they all achieved at the highest level. And they achieved at significant personal cost. Some made great personal sacrifices. Perhaps most importantly, however, these people were unusually sensitive to what was going on around them. They heard things that other people could not hear. They saw things that other people could not see. It was a vision or a moment of clarity, insight, inspiration. In each case, something special happened. Whatever you call it, at one or more moments in their lives, they saw something different. And they were able to recognize that it was different, that it was important. And they didn't let the moment go unnoticed. They did something with it. They devoted their lives to it. Be sensitive to that moment. It will happen to you. Don't let it go unnoticed. So we have a group of mixed education, tireless work ethic, great vision. Perhaps most importantly, however, these people were lucky. Okay? Each and every one, they were lucky. Now don't discount luck. It'll be a critical component of your success. Some people say you make your own luck. There's clearly some truth to that. These concepts of work ethic, vision, and luck seem to be closely interrelated. Luck, they say, is where preparation meets opportunity. Luck happens. Let's explore this luck thing a little further. There will be a moment in your life when the stars seem to align. You will flip a coin 10 times in a row, and it will come up to heads every time. You'll look up one day, and you notice that the wind has been at your back for a week. Something will have been going unusually right for an extended period of time. Be ready for that moment. It will happen to you. Recognize it for what it is. There will be such a moment in your life. Seize it. That's the start of the next company. That's the cure for cancer. That's the hydrogen fuel cell. That is the next big thing. Now, there's clearly a non-rational process at the core of these moments. It's an idea, it's a vision, it's a feeling. It's something you know viscerally to be true. Take it and run with it. Take it. When it happens, run with it. Don't listen to the naysayers. Don't listen to the experts. Don't listen to the authority figures. They will stand in line to tell you that your idea is impractical, it's impossible, and it's unrealistic. Don't listen to them. You will know it to be true. This will be the opportunity that you've been waiting for. This is what you are here to do. Don't take no for an answer. Make it happen. One closing thought. Let's talk about ethics. Tomorrow is Mother's Day, so it's a most appropriate day to talk about ethics. You, each of you, will have the opportunity to cross the line every day of your life, okay? Every day of your professional career in lots of little ways and sometimes in big ways. Some of these opportunities will be more tempting than others. Some will seem inconsequential. Some will appear common practice. What's the big deal? Everybody is doing it. Here's a litmus test that you can use. Ask yourself, what would your mother think? What would she say if you told her about it? What would she think if she read about it? If you use that test to gauge your behavior, you will do the right thing every time. Today is a big day for you. With credit to Winston Churchill, it's not the end, nor the beginning of the end, but the end of the beginning. Work hard, be attentive, latch on to good fortune when you see it, make it look easy, get lucky. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom, for sharing your insights with us. We're honored to have you here with us today. The future is so bright, I've got to wear shades, you know. Commencement is a proud day for graduates and their families. It's also a proud moment for the University of California. The degrees conferred by the university attest to the high scholastic achievement of our students and to the fulfillment of the primary task of the university. Today's ceremony recognizes engineers who have earned the degrees Master of Engineering, Master of Science, and Doctor of Philosophy. Before granting the degrees, I want to take a moment to allow all of you graduates to express your appreciation to the loved ones who have provided emotional and financial support of your education. Please stand up and give a hearty cheer to all of your families and friends here with you. We all know what a special day this is, and many of you will be taking photographs. We ask that you keep the aisles at the sides of the stage clear in consideration of those seated. I now invite Dean Shankar Shastri to step forward to grant the master's degrees. We will begin with the first class to graduate from the College of Engineering's new one-year professional Master of Engineering program.
We are delighted to recognize the very first class of students to graduate from the College of Engineering's newest degree program, the one-year Professional Master of Engineering program. This degree combines intensive study in an engineering specialization with coursework in business principles, all integrated through an industry-relevant capstone project. Will the candidates for the one-year Professional Master of Engineering degree please rise? In my authority as Dean of Engineering of the University of California, Berkeley, I grant you the degree Master of Engineering. Please be seated.
Professional Master of Engineering certificates will be presented by Dean Shankar Shastri. He will be assisted by Fiona Doyle, Executive Associate Dean of the College. Candidates will be introduced by Lee Fleming, Faculty Director of the Fung Institute for Engineering Leadership. Please hold your applause until all the candidates are introduced.
Dean Sastry, I proudly present the first candidates for the professional Masters of Engineering. Nathan Conridge. Suavir Singh Lodha. Baraj Kunaning. Vincent Lee. Ankar Agarwal. Emmanuel Chow. Wanan Wang. Aiden Yi. Yinchen Ye. Yinchi Huang. Cheng Lu. Wei Wang. Ruben Zhao. Xiu Yi. Mallory Tayson Frederick. Nicholas Zeitlin. David Stanislawski. Amir Albi. Tony Chang. Jimmy Da. Kevin Singh. Rohan Nagesh. Chunmin Chin. Chenchi Se. Yun Jin. Wan Wang. Hong Wu. Zihong Lian.
What's your name?
Jay
Jay Chow.
Jay Chow. Xing Peng. Peng. Tianyu Fu. Good. All set.
That's it.
Those are my students too.
Hi. So the IUR.
Okay, those are my students too. Those are my students as well. Hongjing Jin. Natapong Huni. Congratulations. Yan Li. Shanshan Ding. Shuki Sun. Chichen Wei. Tianyu Gui. Muni Zhu. Candice Yao. Wenchao Wang. Yui Lin. Bowen Ni. Ran Chen. Pengfei Lu. Jacob Roth. Kevin Yin. Olivier Kunja. Lorenze Anadi. Flavio Gali. Duran Shen. Oh my. Shub Manjahag. Manali Bamblakar. Rahul Lachandi. Pratik Choksky. Akanshka Madure. Akash Rati. Shui Wan. Wei King Yap. Katik Park. Ganon Wang.
This is MSc? Material science? Okay. They want you to announce it, though, I think.
Yao Huang. Hojin Kang. These are still my
Mechanical?
mechanical. Tony Tsang. Oh, Elizabeth Lee. Wei Yin Su. Zhao Lin. Guess we're hurrying here. Nicholas Wong. Brian Brunlau. Zachary Peterson. And Bernard. Ashish Ahuja. William Hagan. Ryan Moore. Grant Bishop. Eldon Summerson. Kathy Hagan. Brent Dolan. Ken Erdem. Nicholas Jensen.
Nuclear.
Yes, that's me. Zachary Bouvet. Gernan Adnet.
You could say thank you to all of our Master of Engineers.
Thank you to all of our professional Masters of Engineering graduates.
We're proud of this fine group of graduates. Congratulations to all of you. We will now invite Dean Sastry to the stage to continue with the conferral of our master's degrees. I ask that the people using the speaker over there on the left, please speak into the microphone. The microphone.
Dean Sastry, the candidates for the degree of Master of Science from the graduate group in Applied Science and Technology are
David.
Ted Sanders.
1 second.
Oh,
Just a minute. The two-year Master of Engineering degree combines design analysis and technical breadth in engineering with work in other professional schools and the social sciences. May I ask the candidates in our two-year Master of Engineering program to please rise. In my authority as Dean of Engineering of the University of California, Berkeley, I grant you the degree Master of Engineering. Please be seated. Will the candidate... Will the candidates for the degree Master of Science please rise? This degree is granted to individuals who have completed a course of study demonstrating a mastery or high-level overview of a specific field of engineering. In my authority as Dean of Engineering of the University of California, Berkeley, I grant you the degree Master of Science. Please be seated.
Master's certificates will be presented by Dean Shankar Shastri. He will be assisted by Fiona Doyle, Executive Dean of the College. Candidates will be introduced by their department chairs. Please hold your applause until all the candidates are introduced. We will start with the candidates from the graduate group in Applied Science and Technology, who will be introduced by Professor David Atwood.
Dean Sastry, the candidates for the degree Master of Science from the graduate group in Applied Science and Technology are Ted Sanders. You're Ted? Yeah. Oh, go for it.
Great, thanks. Okay.
And Jinshu Zhang. No. Bio. Great, you got him. Okay, great. Is that it?
The next one's bioengineering.
Dean Sastry, the candidates for the degree of Master of Science from the Department of Engineering, Bioengineering are Lisette Wilinski, Curtis Clayton, John Eng, Yang Zhao. Scott Goodfriend. Jason Nee. Jasmine Calvaro. Mana Mohendra. Annie Liu. Vabi Omish. Hardrika Nanduri. Tiffany Ko. I congratulate all the students in the Master's of Translational Medicine and degree of Bioengineering master's degree.
Dean Sastry. The candidates for the degree of Masters of Engineering and Master of Science from the top-ranked, most fabulous, and best-looking civil and environmental engineering department in the world. You all know who you are. Vishwanath Balusu. Patrick Ganaj. Douglas Fankel. Matthew Cummins. Pablo Parra. Michael Showerman. Justin Sotomayor. Benjamin Kalaka. Jean-Baptiste Gariel. Stanislas Dutoit. Adrian Lahanaf. Lamis Eldidi. Garance Denizo. Caroline Delaire. Edouard Bulto. Romain Labanque. Brandon Wang. Justin Butel. Kevin Lau. Mark Bayan. Hank Lin. Bayan Lee. Jackie Ng. He loves you too. Kuno Vaswani. Luya Jeffrey Zhang. Thanks, Jeffrey. Nice speech. Serena Zhu. Tracy Hong. Natalie Aguiar Carranza. Belinda Lee. Juliet Peru. Raymond Lowe. Michelle Adlong. Diane Taylor. Bradley Harkin. Andrew Kustish. Gopal Penny. Connie Jean Ng. Gabrielle Warame. Nick Lee. Charles Chang. Kaho Kong. Christine Santella Goli. Darren Yee. Hannah Yu. Kianwe Tiffany Dang. Ivy Tao. La Cesar Hanzigzi. Kai Ding. Excellent. Naya Wang. Hao Zhang. Han Zhang. Ying Xiao. Kevin Yang. Qi Shi. John Heenan Pujol. Natalia Perez. John Kenny. Samantha Beardsley. Christopher Boswell Donaldson. David Heilbrunn. Adam Franson. Madeline Zeisser. Alexander Chow. Patrick Tabuti. Pavel Borakov. Candice Avanes. Theodorus Thanopoulos. He says close enough. Ephraim Shifa. Gu Liang Guan. Kan Hui Lee. Aaron Johnson. Jay Go. Alex Mead. Reza Gassemi. Jiyoung Choi. Khalid Ibrahim Al-Sultan. Nigel Blampie. Youngjun Lim. Matthew Moki. Anthony Allen. Zaina Dumet. Maggie Richani. Firas El Zawi. Ramzi Juradini. John Giacomo Palumbo. Supun Pereira. Garney Wing. Avshan Pirbuzari. Sean Howell. Dana Weissman. Darren Rieger. Benjamin Fuller. Brian Durstein. Xinshin Tian. Jeffrey Tom. Hao-Yu Chen. Yang Yang. Joel Flashon. Luis Alfredo Leon. Ana Luz Acevedo Cabrera. Cindy Lopez. Pardon? Oh boy. Dimitra, okay. Shiaowski. Dimitra Shiaowski. Erica Parker. Emily Gibson. They won't let me shake any more hands. I'm sorry. Kevin Huynh. I'll shake it after. Wow. We're happy for him too. Kevin Johnston. Spencer Marcinic. David Tang. Corey Miyamoto. Woo! Robert Lanzafami. Nicholas Anthony Civetta. Devin Ladozinski. Justin Ray. Michael Gardner. Nathaniel Wagner. Anna Marie Escher. Sierra Ebby. Andrew Yescu. Chris Markham. Roberto Luque. Oliver Ricard. Jack Stratton. Nella Pierre-Louis. All right. Cynthia Valenzuela. Con Win. Ransom Hennifer. Charles Jaroge. Sean Jacey. Claudine Yu Costadillo. Alice Mayfield. Shane Reif. Sean Merrifield. Robin Torres. Aaron Mulhart. Jennifer Mitchell. Adrian Bush. Andrew Maloney. Roy Huft. Zachary Westling. Jonathan Frommer. Brian Olson. Irene Kwan. Akitoshi Furuya. Long Tran. Rodrigo Music. Congratulations to all the master's degree recipients in civil and environmental engineering.
Dean Sastry, the candidates for the degree of Master of Science from the Department of Electrical Engineering and Computer Sciences, the department that does not need to brag, but we do anyway, are Juan Yanquan, Andrew Fisher, Luke Seegars, Apruva Shandar, Jonathan Kotker, John Wang, Chao Yu Lai, Sean Soliman, Clifford Angle, Sean Lee, Ye Yung Koi, Daniel Duckworth, Philip Goodheim, Gabriel Nunes, Michael Rowe, Janet Chang, Sally Ann, Yangsim Demir, Darren Cole. Congratulations to all recipients. Thank you.
Dean Sastry, the candidates for the degree of Master of Science from the Department of Industrial Engineering and Operations Research are Boris Pradum, Carson McFadden, Guy Suh, Sati Houston, Jiwan Kim. You gotta say it. I don't. Oh, come on. Vincent Hu. David Park. Shubin Lee. Congratulations to all of you.
Dean Sastry, the candidates for the degree Master of Science from Material Science and Engineering are Paul Huang, Rebecca Ann Lee, Michelle Lee, Riley Reese, Anand Sampat, Catherine Baldwin, Arusa Alan, and Peter Bai. Congratulations to all of our candidates.
Dean Sastry, candidates for the degree of Master of Science from the Department of Mechanical Engineering are David Kimber, Jamie Young, Andy Hawk, Sebastian Roof, Edwin Wibowo, Randy Malari, Evan Chang, Benson Kai, Hao Chen, Evan Atherton, Narek Hakopian, David Olmos, Naoki Nakata, Omar Abdul Hadi, Yi Cheng Zheng, Lu Wan, Ryan Paulson, Kenneth Lee, hi Kenny, Jonathan Beard, Tyler Jones, Frederick Doring, Katie McKinstry, Yu Chu Huang, Romino Rodriguez, Farzani Ansore, Cherub Kim, Alexandra Imes, Louis Kostu, Johann Grausam. Congratulations to all our Mechanical Engineering Master of Science students.
Dean Sastry, the candidate for the degree Master of Science from the Department of Nuclear Engineering is Albert Yuen.
We are proud of this fine, exceptionally good-looking group of graduates. Congratulations to all of you. We will now confer the doctoral degrees. Dean Sastry.
The doctoral degree is the highest academic degree awarded by a university upon completion of original research, resulting in a major thesis that adds to the knowledge base in a discipline. We are delighted to recognize these candidates for their extraordinary achievement. Will the candidates for the degree Doctor of Philosophy please rise? In my authority as Dean of Engineering of the University of California, Berkeley, I grant you the degree Doctor of Philosophy. Please be seated.
In the time-honored tradition, we will place the hood signifying the doctoral degree over the head of each doctoral candidate. The hood's dark blue velvet border signifies the doctoral degree, and its blue and gold satin lining symbolizes that the degree was awarded by the University of California. Students will be introduced by the chair of the department or a designee. They will come forward and be joined by their faculty advisor, who will present the hood. Please leave your caps on your chairs. We will start with the candidates from the graduate group in Applied Science and Technology, who will be introduced by Professor David Atwood.
Dean Sastry, the candidates for the PhD from the graduate group in Applied Science and Technology are John Gerling, hooded by his advisor, Professor Nathan Chung, And Paul Davis, whose advisor, Professor Falcone, is in Washington for his wife's Senate confirmation. Ransheng Chu. Two hooders. Okay, with two professors to hood her. And Nitapat Polchai, who will be hooded by his advisor, Professor Zhang Zhang. Okay, this one I got. And Alexander Polyakov, who will be hooded by me while his advisor is in Washington. The next is Jayakanath Ravi Shankar, and he will be hooded by his professors Ramesh and Majundar. Thank you. Congratulations to you all.
The candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy from the Department of Bioengineering, the liveliest department in the college because we work with living things. Thomas Z. Tesser, and will be hooded by Professor Pines. Jessica Allen. Chi Cheng Fu will be hooded by Professor Lee. Frank Benson Myers will be hooded by Professor Lee. Jonathan Emmett Foley will be beheaded by Professor Schaefer and Arkin. Come on, come on. Eddie. Eddie Wang will be hooded by Professor Sung-Wook Lee. Yeah. Lee Key will be hooded by Professor Adam Arkin.
Okay.
Apparently, the bioengineers didn't get the memo. Adam Hickenbottom will also be hooded by Professor Arkin. This way, go this way. Weston Robert Whitaker will be hooded by Adam Arkin and was also advised by Professor John Duber. Jin Hong He will be hooded by Professor Chris Anderson. Douglas Glenn Brownfield will be hooded by Professor Mina Bissell. Yay. Geraldo Sousa Silva will be hooded by Professor Irina Comboy. Hate to see these folks on their wedding day. C.C. Chen will be hooded by Michelle Maharbitz and David Schaefer. Oscar Weston will be hooded by Ian Holmes. Lane, it's hard to read your handwriting. Lane J. Weaver, it will be hooded by Professor Kiesling. Jen Yu Tang will be hooded by Professor Song Lee. Michael Motion will be hooded by Song Lee in lieu of Professor Frank Zoka. Jeffrey Justin David Henry will be hooded by Professor Song Lee. And a young woman after my own heart, national champion ultimate frisbee player Danielle Anchi Tsu will be hooded by Professor Lee. Samuel Quinn Tia will be hooded by Professor Amy Herr. And my congratulations to all the students, parents, families, and friends. Congratulations and have a wonderful life after this.
The candidates from the Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering will be introduced by Professor Lisa Alvarez-Cohen, Chair of the department.
Hello. The candidates for the Doctor of Philosophy degree in the most brilliant, the most athletic, and of special interest to Tom Siebel, the luckiest civil and environmental engineering department in the world. We will begin with Gabriel Alfonso Candia, who will be hooded by his advisor, Nicholas Sitar. Next is Rusbe Goreli Mikola, who will also be hooded by his advisor, Nick Sitar. Next is Diego Cobas Roa, who will also be hooded by Professor Nick Sitar. Catherine Jones will have the pleasure of being hooded by Jonathan Bray. Jerry Janya Sunant will be hooded by Raja Sangupta. Timmy Seo will be hooded by Alexandra Bayan. Bronco Kirkes will be hooded by Stephen Gleiser. Bowen Joe will be hooded by new mother, Tina Chow. Kyle Gregory Pressel will be hooded by Bill Collins and Tina Chow. Emily Kumpel, she will be hooded by Cara Nelson. Dr. Ju Hyuk Moon will be hooded by Paolo Montero. New Dr. Pierre Iti will be hooded also by Paolo Montero. Paolo's doing the yeoman's work today by also hooding Sejong Rosie Che. New Dr. Rudy Shook will be hooded by Mark Stacy. Whoops. Audrey Collinon will be hooded by Mark Stacy. Mark Stacy will also have the pleasure of hooding new Dr. Richard Wayne Wagner. New Dr. David Scott Menzel will be hooded by none other than David Sedlak. New Dr. Ain Pham will be hooded by David Sedlak and Fiona Doyle as a team. Drew Roland Gentner will also be team hooded by Alan Goldstein and Rob Harley. Except for Alan Goldstein's not here. Okay, Rob Harley. Dr. Eleni Christofa will be hooded by Alex Scabardones. Alex Scabardones will also hood Robert J. Campbell. Dr. Celeste Nicole Chavez will have the pleasure to be hooded by the very well-dressed Carlos DeGonzo. Vikash Varun Gaya also has the pleasure to be hooded by Carlos DeGonzo. Dr. Shukran Ilgin Guler will be hooded by Mike Cassidy. Karthik Siva Kumaran will be hooded by Mike Cassidy and Samar Madanat. Dr. Jeffrey Roger Lideker will be hooded by Arpad Horvath and Samar Madanat. Petek Gersel will be hooded by Arpad Horvath. Professor Horvath will also hood new Dr. Brett Michael Strojan. Dr. Catherine Alexandra White will be hooded by Boja Stojadinovic. Dr. Boja Stojadinovic will also hood Michael William Mailer. Professor Stojadinovic will also hood Eric Scott Kelbrock. And we have one more by Professor Stojadinovic, Clement Benjamin Barth. Next up, Professor Stephen Main will have the pleasure of hooding Dr. Tracy Celeste Becker. Dr. Hunwoo Lee will be hooded by Professor Iris Tomaline. And next, I have the distinct pleasure of hooding Dr. Christopher Michael Salas. And last but not least, Dr. Yu Jie Men will be hooded also by myself. Congratulations to all of the candidates of the Doctor of Philosophy degree.
The candidates from the Department of Electrical Engineering and Computer Sciences will be introduced by Professor Costas Panos, Chair of the department.
The candidates for the degree Doctor of Philosophy from the Department of Electrical Engineering and Computer Sciences, the most productive department in the college, and the one with the best sense of direction, I hope. Okay. Start from here. Okay. Ramayavan Vasudevan to be hooded by Professor Baxi, Regina Baxi, or by Shankar Sastry, who's filling in for Regina Baxi. Humberto Gonzalez, who will also be hooded by Dean Sastry. Andrew Brendan Tinka, who will be hooded by Professor Bayan. Alec Agrawal. Okay. Will be hooded by Professor Wainwright. Sahan Negaban, who will be hooded by Professor Wainwright. Jerry Ding, who will be hooded by Professor Claire Tomlin. Adam Pauls, who will be hooded by Dan Klein. David Barquette, who will be hooded by Professor Dan Klein. Michael Paul Armbrust, who will be hooded by his advisors, Professor Fox and Professor Patterson. Shabil Camille, who will be hooded by his advisors, Armando Fox and Kathy Yellick. Amir Ashraf Kamil, who will be hooded by Professor Kathy Yellick. Adrian Matthew Mettler, who will be hooded by his advisor, David Wagner. Ariel Cordero, who will be hooded by his advisor, David Wagner. Pratik Saxena, who will be hooded by his advisor, Don Song. Stephen Greg Hanna, also to be hooded by Professor Don Song. Mike He, to be hooded by his advisor, Seth Sanders. Hao Zhang, to be hooded by his advisor, Kanan Ramchandran. Kwan Chen, to be hooded by his advisors, Joe Hellerstein and Tapan Parik. Erin Summers is out of line. Erin Summers, okay. Paul Liu. There we are. Erin Summers, to be hooded by her advisor, Andrew Packard. Paul Liu, to be hooded by his advisor, Bernhard Boser. Carl Skua, to be hooded by Bernard Boser. Sorry. Sapan Agarwal, to be hooded by his advisor, Eli Yablonovich. Owen Dennis Miller, also to be hooded by Eli Yablonovich. Jeffrey Brian Chow, to be hooded by his advisor, Professor Ming Wu. John Michael Uras, to be hooded by Professor Ming Wu. Amit Mamohan Lakani, to be hooded by Professor Ming Wu. And Jade Jung Seok, to be hooded by the most productive of our faculty, Professor Ming Wu. Roger Chen, to be hooded by Professor Connie Chang Hasnain. Andy Carl, to be hooded by John Kenny. Ken Hao Chang, to be hooded by John Kenny. Wesley J. Willett, to be hooded by Manish Agrawala. Robert Evan Carroll, to be hooded by Manish Agrawala. Kenrick King, to be hooded by Professor Agrawala. Jae Sok Jeon, to be hooded by Professor Tzu Jae King Liu. Sang Hwan Kim, to be hooded by Professor Tzu Jae King Liu. Min Hee Jo, also to be hooded by Professor King. Risa Nathaniel, with Professor Tzu Jae King Liu. Chang Quan Shin, to be hooded by Professor King Liu. and Zachary Aaron Jacobson, to be hooded by Professor Sujay King Liu. Ankur Moikesh Mita, to be hooded by Professor Chris Pister. Jang Don Park, to be hooded by Yali Niknazad. Win Yakak Nagpal, to be hooded by Professor Nikolic. Dusan Stepanovic, to be hooded by Professor Nikolic. Jesse Aaron Richmond, to be hooded by Professor Yan Rabai. Yuhui David Chen, to be hooded by Professor Yang Rabai. Igor Ganishev, to be hooded by Professor Scott Schenker. Jundar Liu, to be hooded by Professor Scott Schenker. Jayanth Kumar Tunezar, to be hooded by Professor David Kahler. Ariel Jacob Kleiner, advised by Michael Jordan, to be hooded by David Kahler. Lester Wayne Mackey, advised by Professor Jordan, to be hooded by David Kahler. Eric Dean Battenberg, to be hooded by Professor David Wessel. Nimar Arora, advised by Stuart Russell, to be hooded by Stuart Russell. Ben Likely, to be hooded by Professor Edward Lee. Isaac Xiun Liu, to be hooded by Professor Edward Lee. Ariel Rapkin, to be hooded by Professor Randy Katz. Andrew David Konwinsky, to be hooded by Professor Randy Katz. Yan Pei Chen, to be hooded by Professor Randy Katz. Gan Ho Lee, also to be hooded by Professor Katz. Narayanan Sundaram, to be hooded by Professor Kurt Koitzer. Bor Ying Su, also to be hooded by Professor Koitzer. Clark Yang Lin, to be hooded by Professor Clark Nyan. Gregory Jor Valiant, to be hooded by Satish Rao. Isabel Stanton, to be hooded by Professor Satish Rao. Barlas Oguz, to be hooded by Professor Venkat Anandathram. Sasmit Ya, to be hooded by Professor Sanjit Shesha. Jos Peer 4000 Hag, to be hooded by his advisors Adam Marking and Laurent Elgawi. Brian Gawalt, to be hooded by Laurent Elgawi. Congratulations to you all. Make us proud.
The candidates from the Department of Industrial Engineering and Operations Research will be introduced by Professor Philip Kaminsky, Chair of the department.
The candidates for the degree Doctor of Philosophy from the Department of Industrial Engineering and Operations Research are Huaning Chai, hooded by Andrew E.B. Lim. Guy Yi Van, also hooded by Andrew Lim. Osman Akun, hooded by Rhonda Ryder. Vivek Ramamurthy, advised by Max Shen, hooded by Rhonda Ryder. Gemma Berenguer Falguera, advised by Max Shen, hooded by Yingju Chen. Wenbo Selena Tsai, hooded by Yingju Chen. Ling Xie Kung, hooded by Yingju Chen. Evan Tates Davidson, hooded by Robert Leachman. Xianji Wang, hooded by Elon Adler. Tanai Chai Lim Pai Tun, hooded by Shmuel Oren. And finally, Ming Quan Yuan, hooded by me. Congratulations to all of the recipients.
The candidates from the Department of Materials Science and Engineering will be introduced by Professor Ronald Gronsky, Chair of the Department.
The candidates for the degree Doctor of Philosophy from Material Science and Engineering are Julie Carroll, whose advisor is Professor Hellman, and I have the honor of placing the hood. Joseph Wolford, whose advisor is Professor Oscar Dubon, who will place the hood. Alejandro Xavier Levander, whose advisor is Professor Junchao Wu, who will place the hood. Shan Yu, whose advisor is Professor Andrew Miner, and I have the honor of placing the hood. Jessica Xu, advised by Professor Ting Xu, who was placing the hood. Hannah L. Ray, advised by Professor Lutgard de Jonge, who is placing the hood. Nicole Adelstein, again advised by Professor Lutgard de Jonge, who is placing the hood. Marie Annette Mayer, advised by Professor Eugene Haller, who is placing the hood. Cosima N. Boswell Kohler, advised by Professor Darrell Shawn, who is placing the hood. Naomi Tehila Cohen, advised by Professor Kevin Healy, who is placing the hood. Elizabeth M. Boatman, co-advised by Professors Ritchie and Gronsky, and we have the honor of placing the hood. And finally, David Zhu, advised by Professor Ritchie, who will place the hood. Congratulations to all of you.
The candidates from the Department of Mechanical Engineering will be introduced by Professor David Dornfeld, Chair of the Department.
Thank you. We'll save the best for the last. Candidates for the degree Doctor of Philosophy from the Department of Mechanical Engineering are Zichao Song, advised by Professor Kamvopoulos. He will be hooded by Professor Kamvopoulos. Hua Zheng, also advised by Professor Kamvopoulos, hooded by Professor Kamvopoulos. Xiaojun Zhang, provided by Professor Sam Mao, and Sean Zhang, hooded by Professor Sean Zhang. Jason Ira Reed, advised by Professor Hamayun Kazuruni and hooded by Professor Kazuruni. Catherine Ann Strausser, also advised by Professor Kazuruni and hooded by Professor Kazuruni. Christopher Walker Gladden, advised by Professor Sean Zhang, hooded by Professor Zhang. Celeste Nicole Rashini, advised by Professor Agagino and hooded by Professor Agagino. Laura Ann Olberg, also advised by Professor Agagino and hooded by Professor Agagino. Dr. Ryan Shelby, advised by Professor Agagino and hooded by Professor Agagino. Put her down, Ryan. There's more of a program. Congratulations. Anthony Cesar De Filippo, advised by Professor J.Y. Chen and hooded by Professor Chen. Andrew Van Blerigan, advised by Professor Robert Dibble and hooded by Professor J.Y. Chen. Alex Green, advised by Professor Dennis Liu and hooded by Professor Liu. Johanna Matthew, advised by Professor Duncan Calloway and hooded by Professor Calloway. John Edmiston, advised by Professor David Steigman and hooded by Professor Steigman. Lindsay Margaret Miller, advised by Professor Paul Wright and hooded by Professor Wright. Jiyoung Chang, advised by Professor Li Wei Lin and hooded by Professor Lin. Heather Chiamori, advised by Professor Lin and hooded by Professor Lin. Maria Shriver, advised by Professor Alex Zettel and hooded by Professor Zettel. Sun Choi, advised by the dynamic duo Al Pisano and Tarek Zodi, and hooded by the two. Tim the Eliminator Brackbill, advised by Professor Pisano and hooded by Professor Pisano. Chi Ming Lin, also advised by Al Pisano and hooded by Al Pisano. Another one for Al, Shara Jane Woden Schwartz, hooded by Professor Al Pisano. Michael Thomas Denko, also advised by Professor Pisano and hooded by Professor Pisano. Eamon Erden, advised by Professor Pisano and Professor Doyle, also hooded by both. Mary Phillips, advised by Professor Rubinsky and hooded by Professor Carlos Fernandez-Peyo. Kedar Hippolgaunkar, advised by Professor Kostas Grigoropoulos, hooded by Professor Arun Majumdar. Dushan Koso, advised by Professor Van Carey and hooded by Professor Arun Majumdar. Tony Ho, advised by Professors Ralph Greif and Sam Mao, hooded by Professor Van Carey. Memo Garcia, advised by Professor Van Carey, and Delia Milrian, hooded by Professor Van Carey. Pamela Marie Berkeley, what a great name, advised by Professor Carey, hooded by Professor Carey. Deborah Sunter, also advised by Professor Carey and hooded by Professor Carey. Sarah Sammy Biani, advised by Professor Carey and hooded by Professor Carey. David Lettieri, also advised by Professor Carey and hooded by Professor Carey. He's been a busy guy. Jay James, advised by Catherine Koshland and Donald Lucas, hooded by Catherine Koshland and Donald Lucas. Jean-Pierre Jante, advised by Professor Stephen Morris, hooded by Professor Stephen Morris. Yes, you may do the honors. Zhanglin Zheng, advised by Professor Bougie and hooded by Professor David Bougie. David Moody, advised by Professor Oliver O'Reilly and Jeff Lutz, hooded by Professor Oliver O'Reilly. Elias Wolfgang Patton, advised by Professor Lisa Pruitt and hooded by Professor Lisa Pruitt. Charlotte Daniels, advised by Professor Boris Rubinsky, but hooded by Professor Lisa Pruitt. Josiah Werno, advised by Professor Roberto Horowitz and hooded by Professor Horowitz. Sangyum Kim, advised by Professor Masayoshi Tamazuka and hooded by Professor Tamazuka. Wenji Shen, advised by Professor Tamazuka and hooded by Professor Masayoshi Tamazuka. Yasuki Yosoi, advised by Professor Sarah McMains, hooded by Professor Sarah McMains. Hope Lee Weiss, advised by Professor Andrew Seri, Dean of the Graduate School, and hooded by Professor Andrew Seri. Mark Franklin Godwin, advised by Professor Francesco Borelli and hooded by Professor Borelli. Yudong Ma, advised by Professor Borelli, hooded by Professor Borelli. Congratulations to this outstanding group of mechanical engineer doctoral scholars.
The candidates from the Department of Nuclear Engineering will be introduced by Professor Per Peterson, Chair of the department.
Dean Sastry, it's a beautiful day, and we've saved the best for last. The candidates for the degree Doctor of Philosophy from the Department of Nuclear Engineering are Eric L. Swanberg. His advisor is Rick Norman. Rick Norman will place the hood. Joshua Daniel King. His advisor is Professor Ed Morse. Ed Morse will place the hood. Yang Wang. Her advisors are Michael Lieberman and John Verbonker. Professor Jasmina Vujic will place the hood. Brett Vanderacker, our Renaissance scholar. His professor is Jun Hong An, who will place the hood. Jeffrey Powers. His advisor is Ehud Greenspan. Professor Brian Worth will place the hood. And Theobald Fanny. His advisor is Professor Brian Worth. Brian will place the hood. Best wishes to all of the graduates.
Congratulations to our class of 2012. You are now and forever Berkeley engineers and graduates of the finest public university in the world. You should be proud. I hope you can continue your education here or embark on your professional and academic career. You will remember these years at Berkeley, I know, with fondness, and I hope you will come back to share your experiences, impart your knowledge to the students who follow you, and donate generously to our funds. We encourage you to participate as active alumni. Please stay in touch with each other and with us. Live long and prosper. This concludes our master's and doctor's commencement. You're all invited to the receptions being held by the departments of the College of Engineering. The location of each is listed in your program. Best wishes to our graduates, and thank all of you.